Hi everybody, happy Friday. Welcome to Maker Mornings with Meg Friday edition. So let's see, today we are going to talk about tie-dye, working on your stamps. And I'm a huge tie-dye fan. I actually had a tie-dye clothing shop for a little while. So kind of that blending of colors and the way things come together is near and dear to my heart. And the stamp set we're going to use is Butterfly Brilliance. So here is this guy. And I'm going to show you how I kind of choose, instead of just making the one butterfly that we need for this project, I'm going to make the whole tray of them, and then I'll show you how I store those. So if you've watched my videos before, you probably know how that works. We are going to talk about dyes, and I have some fun missions for you guys for next week. So I'll kind of get into that as we go. But morning, Elaine and Cindy and Sue and Trish and Tanya. You guys are the early risers. So Tanya says this is her favorite stamp set other than the seashell one. You know what? I haven't used the seashell one yet. I've kind of been waiting until things get off of back order. So I'm sure you're going to see that one from me very soon, though, probably later in March. So, all right. Morning. Hi, Kathy. Okay, so let's go ahead and get stamping. I'm going to flip you guys down here. I always try to give some warning so nobody gets motion sick from the flip part of that. And the stamp that I'm going to use is this one here. So we have our giant butterflies. I think that I've mentioned to you before that another way to handle this, if you want to, is to get a second set of butterflies and actually cut them apart. So it's like an extra $17, but it gives you a lot more flexibility on how to color these and where you put them. Obviously, I like leaving this one together because I want to have one that makes it easy to, cut with the coordinating dies so that all the pieces are there. But certainly that second option is a good one. So the colors I have are Rococo Rose and Mint Macaron, and these come from my LovenStamps monthly tutorials. So this is the page for this particular card, but it's one of 4 projects that feature the same set of supplies. And each month I just pick that small set of supplies that are, kind of curated by me and come up with 4 projects that use the same things, so that it's really easy to know that if you have those things, you're gonna have some great variety of different ways to use them. So, all right, I can't remember which one I did first. Let's do this one first. Okay, so when I have a really big stamp like this, I am going to leave it stamp side up and apply my ink pad to it. When you have these the firm foam pads from Stampin' Up, you don't wanna tear across. You don't wanna rub across a surface, because these, you don't wanna tear your foam. So it's just a lot of tapping. And I'm gonna give it a pretty good coat of ink on here so that I get most of it covered. Watch for things like this corner right here. Can you guys see how I missed that little tiny corner of ink? You wanna make sure you get everything coated. There we go, it was a stubborn corner. Okay, and it's probably because this here, if I turn it this way, then it's a little bit more predictable where the edge of my pad is. So just keep an eye out for it. All right, so that's our first step. Then our second step is going to be to add some tie-dye to it. And I'm gonna do that with my Mint Macaron. And I know that Mint and Rococo Rose don't generally, I don't know, when I flip through the catalog, I don't think, oh, those colors are beautiful together. But as part of the Bijou Butterfly Designer Series paper, Stampin' Up! Has already stuck those together and said, hey, look at this. It's kind of a fun combination. So I'm copying the color choices from that Bijou. So what I'm gonna do is use my blending brush, and these are fantastic quality. I know I'm talking about something that you can't order right this minute, so don't get frustrated, but they'll be back at the end of March, beginning of April, and you'll be able to add them to your collection then. But just a heads up, they are really outstanding quality. They're nice weight, the brush is heavy, and the bristles are a little deeper than ones that I've seen other places, and they seem to apply ink a little bit nicer. So, to use for this technique, I like to wipe on my ink pad and then tap on my stamp, okay? Now, I'm probably gonna pick up a lot of the rose ink here, and so in between, I'm just gonna tap off to get rid of some of that, and I'm just gonna go kind of along the side. So the first one here is going to take off some ink, and then my second set of tapping is going to apply the new one. Does that make sense? So you could also take a second one, and if you decide that this is where you're gonna put your green ink, go ahead and tap off some of that ink and then tap on here. And let's see, are there any dog owners out there? So we love our dog dearly, but she is super smart and super trainable, and it's kind of like little kids. So she's learned now that when I sit down to do a video with you guys, it's a great time for her to go to the door and tell me that she really wants to go out. So I think in a second here, I'm gonna have to let her out. We'll see, maybe she'll give up. It's a sunny day, so she is a black dog and she likes to go lay in the sun. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and flip this over and stamp it. And I usually just take a half sheet of cardstock and go ahead and put this on here. So I'm just gonna stand up and give it a good press. There we go. So we have our kind of multicolored butterflies there, all right? So then this is going to go to my die cut machine, and I will cut these out. So I have this matching die here, which is fabulous. And I probably could have gone even just a little bit more on some of those green to make them greener, but I think they're kind of cool. I like the way they turned out. That sort of variety of color is really pretty. So let me flip you guys back up here. Hello again. And I'm gonna step over here and run these through my die cut machine. So just like on my mini machine, I like to use a little bit of washi tape to just hold my die exactly in place where I want it so that it cuts the pattern the way I expect. So, all right, so we'll crank this through here. There we go. And when we come out the other side, I'll just bring this back over. Oh, thanks, Sue. I'm glad you like the colors. Hey, Pat. Okay. All right, so then when we bring this back over, we have our butterflies ready to go. Now, I told you that I have sort of a storage plan for these, and my storage plan is my stamp case, because when I go to use this set again next time, of course, I'm gonna get out my stamp case, and I love to open my stamp case and see, oh my gosh, I have a ton of fun things done already. So maybe I can kind of skip ahead to a creative part. I'm gonna go ahead and use, which one today? Oh, I love all of them. Oh well, okay, I'm gonna use the big one. So the rest of these are gonna go back in my case, which I just saved for later. Now for our greeting for this set, we are going to use the Many Messages stamp, which is this fabulous giant one here, a rubber band in there. And so this I would put on my big block, and if I'm just using this butterfly one handy, I would take this, ink it up in Memento ink. I have another piece of Whisper White cardstock, and so I would stamp this, dink. That's the sound of a stamp being stamped, dink. And then I would go ahead and die cut that with the messages die that coordinates, okay? But I've already done that a few times. So I have this baggie here. This is a great way to use your clear envelopes, and you can, just save all the pieces that you are making. I have some that I've done on black and Boston white, and then I have a whole bunch done in white that I stamped in black. So I'm gonna grab this one that says Sending a Smile Your Way. So we have a greeting. And then this I actually store inside my stamp case too. So if you have a lot of little pieces, honestly, I should probably get another clear envelope out for all my butterflies, just to kind of keep them contained there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start putting our pieces together. Now, one of the things I really love about this butterfly set of dies is that it has these texture pieces in it here. And so what I've done is take this texture piece and textured the bottom of our cardstock here. So these are the little line, there you go, can you see that pretty well? Those little lines there. And I love the texture because it really just kind of connects our background to the other parts of our card. So, all right, I'm going to fold my Rococo Rose, and then our layer of the mint macaron there, which is gonna echo our our stamped butterfly and our DSP is going to go here. And one of the other things that I really like about tie-dye is that the colors you get are often blends of the sort of different colors that you start with. So it gives you a lot of variety and a lot of visual interest and a lot of sort of the feeling of the colors without necessarily actually the real colors. So plus it kind of reminded me of this background here. So, all right, so I'm gonna take this. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Tanya. And grab my adhesive, and I'm going to just go ahead and layer my butterfly on here. And this paper, this actual sheet in the paper, there we go, has a lot of different variation to the color across it. And the nice thing is that any of the colors will work well with this. You can see that magenta is pretty strong here, but it really flows nicely. So this is what this paper looked like originally, and I've just taken a quarter of it. This is also a really efficient way to use your paper when you're using 6x6 to cut these little 3x3 squares, because it means you can get 4 out of a sheet. So you're ending up with pieces that you can make multiples for. So, all right, so I have my layer on there, and then I want to add our butterfly here. And what happened to that greeting? There it is. And our greeting. Okay. So I like this layout, but I feel like I want it to have just a little bit more focal point, right? We've been talking about focal points a lot lately. And one of the ways that we could do that is to add like a contrasting color punch. And so I have a piece of the Natural Touch Designer Series paper, which of course matches our sort of naturally butterfly and our natural paper. And if I slide this right under here, look how all of a sudden this whole like part of our card down here with our focal point is just really strong, much stronger than without it. So here's with, and pieces flying around. Here's without. Sort of see how that difference is set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this on here, and generally my multi-purpose liquid adhesive is handy for doing these little tiny pieces that might be a little too narrow for my Stamp and Seal. And then I'm gonna come back here with my butterfly and put, I know, gasp, 2 Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of it. And I'm probably gonna overlap the edge of our card here. So we're gonna clip this, and I've kind of showed this recently, how to do that. And then on the back of this, I'm gonna put a dimensional. This is really narrow. Will it fit on here? Yep, okay. So I'm gonna use the edge of my Stampin' Dimensionals and pop this way down at the bottom so it doesn't show, and pop our greeting down here. Under, over, under, under. I'm gonna let the butterfly be on top. Okay, so here is our sending a smile your way. And then you guys know that I really like to use embellishments. So I'm gonna add an embellishment. And I want to tell you guys about the plan for next week. So I'm getting my Artistry Bloom sequins out, which I pretty much can't stamp without right now. Let's see, should I use the pink or the orangey ones? I'm gonna go with pink. So I'm gonna put, let's see, a bigger one maybe down here underneath our butterfly, and then 2 smaller ones up here. And I like the big one down at the bottom because that helps to kind of weight the, to give extra weight in that, oops, sorry, you guys are off the edge, to give extra weight in that direction there. So kind of a nice way to focus our attention. All right. So that is our card here. And I have another example of this exact card to show you. I pulled in for our butterfly the Magenta Madness ink also, and you can kind of see the magenta showing here. And then for the greeting on this card, I used the Be Strong, Be Happy, Be You, which I cut apart. It's actually from Rooted in Nature. It's this guy right here. And I'm a big fan of that message. I think it's a good thing. And then I also wanted to show you guys the other cards from this series. So this one I've showed you the video tutorial for, this one too. So these are available on my blog. It's probably the easiest way to find them at LovenStamps.com with the blog. And then the one that I haven't showed you yet that's still coming as a tutorial is our box, our butterfly pop-up box card. So let's see, there's a good way to show it. There we go. So it folds flat like this. Oops. Folds flat like this, and then when it opens, it has all those fun layers and stuff inside it. So I'm gonna teach you guys how to do that. But I did want to tell you about next week. So next week, March 15 through 19 is spring break for LovenStamps studio tours and Maker Mornings with Meg. But I will be here Tuesday, so you can plan to tune in Tuesday morning for a live video. I have a challenge for you guys. So one of the things that I know is difficult is getting over the hump between getting ideas for a project and actually like crossing over that hump to make a project. And I know like in card making, that's not such an issue for me because I do this all the time. But in other crafty areas of my life, like in sewing, I spend forever coming up with an idea and getting it just right in my head because I don't want to start anything until it's all perfect. But I've found that I'm so much better off and I make more things if I just get over that hump and make something. So my spring break challenge for you guys is to spring into stamping. Take a spring, like a springboard, like you're running up for gymnastics, you're gonna go over that horse or something, spring over that hump and make some things to share. You'd start this weekend, you could start today, but next week, because you won't have as many videos to watch from me, spring over that creative hump and make some things to share. So you can share them with us here. Like if you look through and find some inspiration from one of the Maker Morning with Meg videos, you can post a picture of your project as a comment on the video and we'll all, get a chance to see it. Or just make something and send a card. Deliver something to your neighbor. St. Patrick's Day is next week. Make something fun and green and share it with somebody you see when you're out. So yeah, spring over and execute, Trish says. Yeah. Okay, so here is the other part of that is if you're looking for ideas and you're watching some old episodes next week of Maker Mornings with Meg, leave a little comment that says you were like rewatching a later for your spring into stamping challenge. Because it's kind of fun too if you're watching a video and you see like somebody else's spring into stamping challenge post, then that it's kind of fun to know that other people are in it with you. Let's see, Sue says her problem is where to start paper stamps dies. So that's a really good question. There's lots of ways to choose how you want to start. You can start with a layout. So for example, this card layout right here is kind of a basic one where I'm gonna need a central image kind of stamp. I'm gonna need a cardstock or a DSP background and a greeting. That's kind of it. So starting with a layout is a good idea because then you can just pull a stamp set that you have on hand and grab some of the coordinating pieces to make it. Does that help, Sue? Okay, so here's the other challenge that I have for you guys next week. Earlier this week, I was substituting in the library in our elementary school, and we read a book about leprechauns and hiding a pot of gold. So I thought it would be fun to hide a pot of gold for you guys. So next Wednesday on St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to hide a pot of gold in the comments of one of our recent videos. So I've been thinking this could either work to be really way easy, or it could be way hard. So it'll be, I'll post one on Facebook and then also one on YouTube. So whichever platform you use to watch these, you'll be able to find one. But I'll post a pot of gold in the comments, and the first person to like comment on the pot of gold in that post and say found it will get a prize from me, because it'll be like finding the leprechaun pot of gold. So I could get totally, it could turn out to be totally easy, because sometimes Facebook moves things up and down depending on how like recently people have mentioned them or commented. So I might post my pot of gold and then it's like right there in everyone's feed and you're like, oh, that was hard. Or it might be really tricky. So we'll just see what happens. It's kind of fun. So 2 things for you guys, 3 things, I guess, for you guys for next week. 1, I'll be here only on Tuesday next week, but you can use all the other past episodes of Maker Mornings with Meg to go ahead and look for some inspiration for the Spring into Stamping Challenge, where you're gonna create and share. So 1, I'll be live on Tuesday. 2, there's a challenge to stamp and share. And 3, look for the pot of gold on Wednesday. So, all right, I hope you guys are excited for some springy weather in your area. And I will look forward to seeing you guys again on Tuesday. So, All right, happy stamping. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for watching, guys.